Well guys, this is the KNOG Blinder light, and I'll just turn it on for you so you can see that it's on, and there you go. And I have had this bike light a few months, and I just wanted to give a review on it. I like to use these things for a bit of a while, especially lights, before I give a review. And this particular light is actually really reasonable. It's around about $60, $70 Aussie, which is probably under $50 US. And I know bike lights in general on my channel are not that popular, but I still like to do them because I see it as a safety issue, and I think the bicycle lights can be used in the daylight or when you're driving under shaded areas like trees and so forth, and also when it's getting to dusk and the light's fading. Bicycle lights can really make yourself visible, and especially when drivers these days are a bit off with the fairies, wondering about what they're going to do when they get home for dinner and their kids, or they're looking at their phone and they're thinking about, oh, who's messaging them because it just beeped, and all these sorts of things. And I think lights, although they're not a guarantee, they can add a little bit of awareness out the corner of someone's eye if they're driving down the road and they see this flashing as you go into the shadow of under a tree. So let's roll our intro and let's see, is this light worth buying? It's a pretty probably mid-price light. So how does this perform when it's out in the field? Now the Blinder light is their mid-price light from KNOG, and it's that one that's been around for ages, and they've just updated it over the years. And it's had a pretty similar design, square long, with a line of lights that are inside. Now, as you probably know if you've been watching my channel for a while, I like to really put them through the test of the water, and especially on the back of your bike, they get covered in sand and dirt and all sorts of muck and mud and whatever, so they get a hell of a lot of treatment when they're on the back of your bike. And this one has been used through winter, so it has copped a lot of that muck. And this light here comes with one of these USB plugs, and the little plug thing is actually on the light, built into the little clasp which the lucky band goes around your seat post. So this one here has a bit of a different design to most of the lights which have the micro USB or the Type-C design. I must admit, I'm not a big fan of these. The lead is extremely short, and it doesn't fit in with a lot of the other leads, so you can't just get your light and just plug it into any lead. You've got to use this special one because it's the only light I have with one of these leads. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but it does work. I haven't got any complaints with it. It charges the light up perfectly. It's much easier to plug in, especially when you get older like me and your eyesight's gone. You don't have to think which way you've got to put it around. You can see it and you can plug it in easy. That's one thing really good about that light, even though I don't like that shortness of that lead. Now the light has 5 different modes, so it's very simple. Some of the lights have too many functions. I don't know if you've had this. I had one from Design, and it had so many lights, and you have to cycle through them all. So if there's one particular light, and then you push the button incorrectly, then you've got to cycle through like 15 or 20 different types of lights. But this one only has 5, which is really good. And the first one is constant, which you can see here. There is a little bit of flashing because of the way it's flickering inside, the way the camera's catching the picture. And then you have all flash. Then you have rolling lights, so it rolls up from the bottom to the top and rolls through the sequence. Then you have the 2 center lights, which is your lower light mode, which you'd probably use if you was in a group ride, so you didn't want to blind people behind you. And then you have the flash, small flash, big mode. So the 4 small ones flash, and then the one big one flashes. So they're all the different modes. Very simple, very easy to use. You hold it long to make it go on, and then you push it once to change for the modes, hold it long to turn it off. Really simple modes, nothing too complicated, which I like. I hate it when they have these designs where you've got to try and rethink how this damn light works. It works a little bit different to others. Now, back to the ruggedness of it, or should I say how it works in the wet weather. Now this one here has been on the bike throughout the winter, and it's performed extremely well. This one here has been gotten all the muck and sand and dirt and everything that comes off the back wheel, so it's seen all of that. Now, normally, a lot of these lights, and even brands that are very popular and in the bike shops, as soon as you stick them in that sort of environment, they kind of pack up. The little functions don't work properly anymore. I don't know if you remember, I had that smart light by Quick. It had some good features. I like the features, but unfortunately, as soon as you get it into the wet weather, you've ride 3 or 4 times in the wet weather, it started playing up. It's in the bin now, it's gone. So those sorts of lights, keep away from them. But this light here, I can tell you right now, for a fairly competitive price light, and its simplicity works great, and it works in the weather, does everything you ask it to do. As I said, doesn't do anything fancy, but it does what it's advertised to do. So it's a beaut little reasonably priced light, because some of the lights that kind of do the same thing are twice the price. Now this one here has 70 lumens, which is kind of not our cheapo type lumens, and it's not best in the market lumens. So it's about in the middle. 70 lumens, you can see it in the daylight. That's not too bad. Of course, it's not as bright as some other lights can be. I've got a cat's eye one as well. That's 100 lumens. And man, that light was expensive, but I've had that for years and years and years. Fantastic. Cat's eye makes some really good products. But this KNOG one, for the price, which is, it's about, it's a little bit more than half. But considering this is a lot cheaper than the cat's eye, and it's 70 lumens, it's not far off the 100, it's still a pretty good price. So guys, in conclusion, what do we got to say about this light? Now, there's not a lot I can say that's really negative about it. The plastic on it is a little bit cheap. That's probably a negative. And also this little lead here, hey KNOG, can we make it like at least half a meter long? That'd be really nice if you could make this lead a bit long. It's so short, you've got to get it so close to the USB. And if your USB plug-in is on the wall, it's sort of hanging in the air. It's not great. But apart from that, operational wise on the bike, can't fault it. Works very, very well. And if you're in the market for a reasonably priced light that is going to be able to handle all sorts of conditions and weathers, this light does it. Okay, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. And guess what? I'm going to see you next vid. Remember, I'm now on Rumble, less ads. And also, remember to subscribe down below, give us a like, and I will see you next vid.